What's up, everyone? Carmine Danisco here on the Launchpad. We are in season 8. That's right, season 8. I can't believe it. I had hair before we started this podcast, and you guys have stuck with me through the seasons. How we even went through a pandemic together, and we never stopped recording. So you can't beat that one. Not too many people in this generation are going to say they lived through a pandemic. I never thought I'd be able to say that. But anyway, I usually talk too much before I get going on the show, and people complain about that. So I'm going to bring on our guest. It's going to be awesome. I mean, this guy's got it going on. We kind of hit it off. It's like I've known him for a long time. We just met a few months ago. We're doing some cool things together. And this guy can make it happen for you. Just listen up, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Sam Kornblum. And hopefully I got his name right. He's going to reach through, grab me, punch me. He's a great guy. We'll bring him on. Sam, what's up, man?
Carmine, how are you? Thank you for having me. And yes, you absolutely landed the last name perfectly.
With the name Carmine and Kornblum, I'm sure you've heard some stuff we were talking about that, some iterations that you're like, whatever.
Yeah, like you said, call me whatever you want. There's been harder names to pronounce, but yeah, thank you for having me. This is exciting and right back at you. An amazing group of people on your end, and this is cool.
Yeah, so much fun. When we first met, and you might not realize this, and you might, you're in this business, but not many people do what you do. And we'll go over that, now is this, but they actually do it, right? And I know that you're going to agree. People say that I'm kind of doing this as a mystery of what you do, but
Right.
we've had so many people say that they can deliver this particular service,
Yeah.
right? But what's great is you can do it. And that's why one of the greatest parts of having you on this show, I want people to realize that there's people like you out there. So without further,
No pressure.
yeah, right. Further, kind of the mystery. Let's talk a little bit about what you do. And man, how you kind of got into this stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's so crazy because you and I have spoke about it. There's just so many people who claim they can do one thing or the other, and execution is critical these days, and being a service is even harder. Um, yeah, we basically bridge the gap between hopefully innovative brands and major retailers like Dick's Sporting Goods, Golf Galaxy, PJ Tour Superstore, Golf Town Canada, now even more so Walmart. We're basically looking to help a brand scale beyond just direct to consumer limitations. And a lot of people need and think they have to go on Shark Tank, or they need a founder, or they need this or that. And sure, that may be the case, but good luck. Doesn't always happen that way. We're kind of that opportunity for smaller and larger scale brands to get that positioning. It's been exciting. Sure, we've had a lot of success, knock on wood. We've had plenty of hurdles along the way. I give a ton of credit to our partners who allow us the opportunity to work for them. We are a service. We are there to do what they need from this side of the table. It's been exciting. This laser focus in golf and even more so in sporting goods has opened up a tremendous new lane as well across places like Dick's Sporting Goods. I mean, we're even doing snacks now, beef jerky, healthier options for consumers. I mean, it's really spiraled out into something so incredible, and it always goes back to like helping people who need help, who running a business or a brand, you can't do it all yourself. You have to find the right people, the experts. And unfortunately, there are, I think, the wrong experts out there in a lot of ways. And it usually just comes down to the people. Like I said, our whole goal is just to help people from day one.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And that, I got that from you when we first met, which I thought was cool. What I love about what you're doing is you are specializing in a specific market. And a lot of people, including inventors and entrepreneurs, they're scared to do that. And not say I was always like that too. And I don't want to say there's anything wrong, because you have to learn as an entrepreneur and an inventor. But they're scared because they think if I specialize, I'm missing out on everything else. And
Right.
and when you said this is what we do, I was like, now that is cool.
Yeah, we somehow found our niche. It's wild. I'm an ex-hockey player. You can see the helmets on the wall. People think I'm this huge golfer now. Iron, Ironically not. I'm actually a terrible golfer. Actually, I'm not bad, but I don't play enough. And the funny story now is like, I'm a terrible golfer, but I'm very good at selling golf products, and it's just become that. But yeah, the niche is awesome. People who swore they'd never golf in their life now are the ones loving and buying all these fun novelty products. Golf just exploded during the pandemic and after. People who again, swore they'd never golf. They hated it. There's a new golf consumer. And while I think those innovations started and a lot of older golf mindset distributionaries, buyers, merchants, whomever, they ran away from that stuff thinking it'll never work. And those smaller vendors never got a chance. We ran towards it and we supported them and we went to bat for them. And we were in the dark alleys and corners fighting with them. These are now the brands having that success. And they're the ones who also helped us get to our point of success as well, to go after and support other new vendors who need that.
Yeah. Well, I love it because I like golf. I'm not a great golfer. I do play, but to me, it's a lifestyle brand. People live on a golf course and don't play golf. People go to a country club. They don't play golf and they buy the clothes. They buy the stuff, which is cool. You can live that, I don't know, that golf persona without actually playing, right?
Right. And by the way, most people who golf a lot, they're very good. They probably have a lot of free time. And I know how busy you are. So if you're out there too much, I'm sure you're not doing too much work.
No, I haven't played golf. I got a brand new set of clubs like 7 months ago. I haven't hit one golf ball with them yet.
And you know what? I hate to say it, unless you're out there every day, good luck. But it's an incredible sport. I think it's brought a lot of people together over the years through a lot of tough times. And one thing now more than ever, what we're seeing in the industry, which is even more incredible, as you know, I'm a recent father, youth, bringing kids up in golf, people and their children getting in golf more, bringing families together. And of course, the female demographic as well, just constantly expanding and growing. Now you get to tell your wife or girlfriend who probably hated going to the golf course, she wants to wear all the fun, cool stuff, go out there and have some fun as well. It's not just a boring, slow sport. There's so much behind it now. And that's really pioneered a lot, not just for my business, but the industry overall, which you're already aware of. I mean, it's incredible what it's become.
Yeah, it really has. And I look at golf and I want to get into your process and what you look for, but I look at golf as when there are people first start playing golf, it's a gift sport.
Mm-hmm.
Like your wife is glad you're playing golf because she gets to buy you all the paraphernalia. Your kids are glad you're playing golf.
Right.
They get to buy you something for Father's Day because they need to be able to get you something. And if you're playing a sport or you have a hobby, here we go. We're going to the golf shop and we're going to buy some stuff that I'll probably never use, but I'm going to go, oh, so this is really cool. Yeah. Thank you. So, it opens up that gifting portion of, and some of the stuff is really cool. Golf stuff, you got hats and clothes and shoes and all those things, which is great. So I really like golf in that side of it. And what you do is right up that alley, right? I mean, you're like, bring me those products.
Yeah, it's funny. Those novelty, we'll call them disruptors, is exactly what we go for. I'd love to go sell 1 million golf balls, but they have plenty of that, right? I want to find what they don't have. We want to work with those crazy, funky items that people are like, this will never work. Yeah. But I'd rather go create our own lane for a partner who deserves that visibility on a national scale instead of the people who are out there trying to become the next big name brand that they already carry. The novelty aspect, the giftability, especially we come into, the holiday season approaching, stocking stuffers. I mean, it's remarkable. I don't think a lot of people understand the capabilities and velocity that comes with this golf industry and sporting goods in general, through good times in the market or not. Something tells me that nothing's ever going to stop a father or a parent or whomever to take their kids to a place like Dick's Sporting Goods and try on a pair of cleats for the first time, or test a baseball bat, or in golf, take a club, swing it. There are strange times coming with the way our economy operates. And of course, e-commerce and helicopters dropping off packages, who knows? Something tells me that when it comes to sporting goods, that genuine touch as a human will never go away. And you see it with the growth of new stores building, like, Dick's Sporting Goods, House of Sport, PGA Tour Superstore opening more doors. These are really good signs based off of people's just real engagement.
Yeah. What I love about what you just said there, without saying it, is that retail, brick and mortar, it's not going anywhere.
Correct.
It's not. It might condense, they might compact, they might change the way they look, but man, it's nothing. You can't change somebody in a specific sport or something like that wants to go into that store and grab it, feel it, touch it, and buy it.
The amount of people who wildly go to stores just to putt during the day, and have fun, It's wild. You'd think, hey, somebody's just in the middle of nowhere. They got 2 hours to kill and they go in and hit a couple balls or they want to test something. That part of the sport of golf is never going to go away. We actually found that a lot of people that go to those stores and do that, they're the ones buying the snacks, right? Because you're like, why would we sell snacks in stores? And to me, we cross-referenced it and now we're selling these snacks. And that also in turn came with like, hey, you got people in there, they're kind of shopping, they're kind of not. They're killing time, having fun. Maybe they're not willing to buy a grip or a shaft or an accessory at this time, but they got an hour to kill, but they're hungry. Okay, right now you don't really have a lot of healthy options for these people. We're pioneering that. We've implemented and added already a handful of healthy snacks. So it's funny that touch of having people go to stores. We're trying to find other creative ways for even the ones that go just to have fun and swing a club to actually, acquire a sale on behalf of our partners on the vendor side
Ah,
and the retail side.
yeah. Yeah, because we're creatures of habit. I go there and buy some snacks and I get a putter, but when I want something, where am I going to go to buy it?
Sure. And the irony there too in support with new brands is that, most people are buying something in some way, shape, or form on the go or they're out.
Mhm.
And look, it is 2025. You can easily go on your phone and order something in a minute. That visibility that you just got and acquired at the retail level because of the foot traffic and really footprint in general, that person's probably not running back to the store right away. Sure, they may go back and be like, oh, I remember this, I'm going to buy it. What do? They Google, they Amazon, they look you up. You just acquired a new consumer you never had based off that footprint visibility. So that is a way where people now they're running ads D2C. They're doing what they can to do this direct to consumer acquisition. Those can plateau. You can invest a lot of money in ad spend, and it eventually balances out. People see it. They already bought it. They don't want it, etc. When you have a footprint like that in an industry like golf, where it's a little bit predominantly older of people who go in and still want to, like you said, touch, feel, work with parts. These are the people you're not actually touching with those ads that you're running and getting that visibility and value and credibility for your brand at that level. You're acquiring a sale and a customer for life based off that vision.
Yeah. And that's kind of what you are working on. And, I want to back up a little bit. As we're talking about this, I'm kind of getting excited. I'm like, man, I got all these golf products. I got to get them over to this guy. So, I mean, I do. And I know there's other things that you are starting to rep. And it's probably like you were like at first going, we don't want these other types of products, but they're coming to you and you're probably like, the way you set up your business, does it make it easier for you to introduce other brands or other market type products because the way you do it?
Yeah, I mean it's remarkable, right? Like I said, I'm not a golfer. I somehow stumbled into the golf business and I love it now. The golf business allowed us to understand and learn that there's an opportunity here and a service that needs provided for not just golf. And you start working with a place like Golf Galaxy, who is owned by Dick's Sporting Goods. That opens up to be like, wow, it's not just golf. This is wide, right? This is baseball, football, soccer, whatever, you name it. And it's grocery related too. Places like Kroger, Fred Meyer, Target, etc. I think the brokers of the world have been around for eons, right?
Mm.
And I'm an apparel background person. So I know that in apparel for a long time, these brokers were there. Hey, you can't get in unless you call this guy, right? That was a way of, I think, old times. Now in sporting goods, we've carved that niche out. It's allowed us to now have the trust of the buyers who have seen us launch over 100 products on their behalf. We're vetting the vendors. We're checking product before it gets there. We're running the economics to make sure that the day I take Carmine's product to them, we're there ready to go. There is no, we're not putting the cart before the horse. If we are there, we don't even put it in front of them. We don't want to jeopardize the vendor's opportunity and we don't want to waste the buyer's time, which then in turns make us look like we're the noobs when they're like, Sam, you should know by now. You should be able to do this in your sleep. So we've really critiqued our way in policy of procedure, which sometimes could be a little frustrating. Like you said before, now everybody's like, oh, you did it for this guy, do it for me.
Mm.
Well, first of all, it's extremely difficult. I wish everybody who does not want to work with us or someone else the best. We've had plenty of success. We've had plenty of challenges. You got to know what you're doing. It's very, very difficult. And if you get in front of the right people with the wrong product, the wrong execution, you're out. We tried it, didn't work. Good luck. And that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, it's a perfect lead into. I mean, you're doing my job for me here, which is awesome. Because I forget sometimes my next question. What do you look for? Like, what's the process? I just send a product to you, or what's the process? I know people are going, how the hell do I get Sam a product? Because they're like, Carmine, shut up. How do I just get them a product? Because I have the greatest thing since sliced bread. Everyone does. So what's the deal? What do you look for? What's the process? What's the next steps?
Yeah, I mean, look, what's the old saying? The magician never reveals all his tricks. So I got to be diligent here. But look, the process is this: we do a ton of outbound reach. We try and source very specifically, as you know, very funky, very different, very unique. We want that void on the floor, right? Like that is usually a way, and it's a nice strategic play. Um, as far as contact, you have my email, you have our website. We're very reachable. We love talking to people, even if it's not the right fit. You know me, Carmine, by now. I'll talk to a wall. If you want to talk to me, I'm willing to speak with you no matter what. Um, Next steps usually we love to communicate, learn, and understand where their business is. Do they need our service? If they do, are they prepared for the next step? We don't want to put them in a tough spot. Good problem to have. You could get somebody a huge order, but if they can't fulfill it, also a problem. So we definitely do our vetting, but we get in contact. We do a product review. Something we talked about before about these people who are out there preaching service or preaching support at this level. I don't really even go to the next phase until I see a product or touch it and give that person feedback. If somebody's willing to sell your product and not even touch it, feel it, and say, hey, you could do this better, or be prepared. Maybe I think the buyer may look for this instead. That's a red flag. That means they just want to take your money, take a deal, and say, whatever. You need somebody who cares enough, and this is a big part of what we do. We had a guy the other day saying, I want to sign, I want to start tomorrow. I'm ready. I said, well, I appreciate that, but send me a sample. Let's have a follow-up. I'd love to give you what we think may happen because we've seen this movie before. And that's a really big part of our process. And it's allowed us to get to that point, like I said, with our trusted buyers. They know the day I say, hey, Carmine, I need to set up a meeting. We're going to come meet you at XYZ or do a Zoom. We'll send you samples. We've already vetted that. And getting to that point was a good decade of trying to do this as a business.
Yeah, and that's what people don't realize is that it's a learning process. The things that you and I are talking about, I made plenty, and I like to use the word mistakes. I made plenty of learning steps, if you want to talk to, and just try not to make those missteps again and again, but like you said, Sam, you have to do these things not only to learn, but to get the right information and get the right feedback. You can't just work in a closet thinking you're learning something.
Yeah, well, early on, and it was a long time ago, we sent a sample without doing a thorough check. And this was my learning curve when the buyer called me and he said, hey, what happened here? And I'm like, what? He's like, well, it broke in half. And I go, uh-oh. And that was kind of like, we got to kind of go back to the drawing board and how we roll these things through. Now, luckily, the guy laughed it off and it was an easier conversation. But I think someone was looking out for me knowing like that goes down with the wrong person. Forget about the vendor. They're never going to take my call because the reputation and integrity just went out the window.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. And listen, as inventors, and I know you deal with a lot of inventors. I'm an inventor. We all think our product is either ready. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Sam's going to love this thing, and in some cases we will, but Sam, talk a little bit about, you're not looking for the product for you. You're not a golfer. You like the industry. So you have to make sure what I like about you, you're taking the emotion out of it, because not only are you a businessman, but you're not a golfer.
Right. It's spot on. You got to really remove your emotion. We brought in a couple sales associates and they've been incredible, by the way. I mean, it's not easy finding reliable support. I don't care what business you're in. And the folks who have joined our team, I mean, we're just truly blessed. And I always tell them, like, you got to kind of remember, you can have your personal opinion, but you're not the consumer right now. You have to think how the merchant's going to appeal to it, how the end user is going to use it. Are there challenges by just looking at it right now? You have to remove those things. And sometimes while vendors treat things as their baby, as they should, having that middle ground person for us to just be brutally transparent in the most supportive way possible brings that to the table. And at times we have people even say, we want to work with you just to get your feedback, right? We're not ready for that next level of thousands of units, but tell us what you think, right? Are we ready? And I actually appreciate those because it allows us to build an early relationship with those people. They can trust and see how we operate. I worked with a guy for almost a year and a half before he signed a deal with us. He just wanted to talk. Now, finally, I was like, hey, man, I think you're milking me for, a little bit more than what we're doing here. But what was nice is by the time he pressed go, we built trust, we built understanding. He became ready. And although I knew it was going to take time, and I was like, man, we're really dragging this one here for over a year and a half. It was worth it, and I'd prefer to work with somebody who wants to do it the right way than versus rush.
Yeah. No, and those days or those people, and I want all of you inventors to listen to what Sam here is saying, is that anytime that someone rushes you or puts a time frame on a decision you have to make, you have to really look at that deal or what's going on. I look at, and I don't know about you, Sam, it takes at least 6 to 8 contacts or talking to someone, at least when I do that, for me to work with someone or to spark a deal or sign a contract. There are multiple conversations that have to take place. And Sam, what you just said is 100% right. You don't rush this stuff. You can't, because they're hurting yourself too.
Correct. And you know what's crazy? And it's really sporting goods in general. I think this applies to golf more than ever. And I hate to keep continuing about golf, but we're laser focused there.
Yeah.
But in general, everybody's like, oh my God, I got to get there tomorrow. It's got to get done immediately. It's like, sure, maybe if you're ready. But listen, there's always next holiday season where people shop. There's always next, maybe it's baseball, softball, basketball. Sporting goods is not going away. There's always next season.
Yes.
There's always next Father's Day or Mother's Day with giftables. In golf, there's always next Masters, which hopefully there's always next Masters. Geez, that's a fun time for everyone. But the point is, there's always going to be that next window of time to capitalize on it. And in the past, we early on too had rushed deals, and maybe they went through, but timing is everything. I always try and tell people, when you're ready, we're ready. These relationships aren't going anywhere. Our business model isn't going anywhere. We hope that when you are ready, we're the ones you come to. And if not, our door is always open.
Yeah, no. I love this. I want our listen, you inventors out there or product, listen to Sam, because there is no time. Yeah, you might miss. Oh, I couldn't sell for Christmas, but you have spring. You have it's birthday and then Father's Day, and then it's back to school day, and then it's summer, and there's always some time in this type of gifting sport to buy products or to sell products. We want to hit the holidays, but sometimes, Sam, as you know, the holidays aren't the best time to release a new product.
Yeah. Geez, you missed that shipping window. That's a fun one, because unfortunately January rolls around and it's everybody's favorite time to do returns. And
that's right.
Like I said, we've kind of seen the end of this movie a few times. So we're not perfect. We've made plenty of mistakes. We've learned from those. We try and be very strategic on our approach, whether it's big, small, or indifferent for any brand. But timing's critical, and those who rush it usually learn the hard way. It's exciting, really, and I think anybody who's eager to break through to this, whether you use myself in CWK, you need someone in your corner. The best thing you could do is get these opportunities. The worst thing you could do is flop on them, because they'll say, hey, we tried, or hey, it doesn't fit right with us. And these merchants, they're just so busy. They got so many moving pieces. And even with trust and relationships, you really got to execute on your first try. That test is great. It's very incentivized. It's exciting, but we always talk about it. One PO, that's great. No one's getting rich overnight. You're not building a brand overnight for one PO. You have to sell through that PO. You have to grow. It may be a small test. It may be only a fraction of the stores. How do you get to all stores? So there's a real process. And like I said, you need an expert in some capacity to guide you there.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. Real quick, I want to talk to you about some of your current clients, if you're able to. But a little bit about you just kind of sparked a question that I had, and I know that you're kind of like a real full service type of. We want the inventors, we want these producers to succeed, and what inventors don't realize, with success becomes a lot more costs involved and a lot more, I want to say, chances of things happening. I mean, a lot of money sometimes is in manufacturing, on the water, on the delivery, right? That process, as you grow, gets scary sometimes.
Yeah, it does. People don't realize in retail, let me take a step back. When you do D2C sales, Amazon, whatever, your full MSRP, if it's $25, right? Most retailers are going to buy that for Keystone between 40 and 50% retail resale, right? That's the way you got to look at it. They get very, oh man, well, I got to sell 500 units for half the price. Why would I want to do that? Well, when you start buying bulk, right, you start shipping, and I'm sure wherever people are producing domestically or international, there's price cuts. So that overall price cut that you got from a large order one time or every other month should boost your overall profitability for that person who saw it at a Dick's, a PGA, or wherever. What do? Their friend sees it. They are not really running back to the store. They Google you, they Amazon you. What's going to happen is that sale you sold for half the price got the eyes on it. They're going to go back, buy it from you directly at your full MSRP. Your overall profitability from that price cut off the volume should go up. That is a real metric people don't realize. So we have a lot of people who are like, we just want to get into retail because even if it's every other month and I'm getting a couple thousand units, our overall profitability will be higher. Now, challenges overseas now more than ever with tariffs and different type of duties and issues. It's a problem. We had 6 months ago some really tough meetings, and I got to be honest, I was even in tough spots myself as the strategy lead. So those who didn't have that strategy lead, I think they got cut. I think they had some really hard times. And again, our service is there not just to sell your product. There will be good and bad times. And those good times, you could probably put your feet up in cruise control. The bad times come, and if you don't have a plan in place or somebody who knows how to, kind of clean up the mess, these bigger players just say, hey, guys, we tried it. I'm sorry. And unless somebody's cousin or uncle or somebody's over there to do them a favor, which they're not, we're through this, right? And good luck.
Yeah, yeah. And strategic partners like yourself who care during those times. And during these times, I've had multiple clients working with people who didn't care and they're just gone. And then they were working with factories and people and even buyers that did care, and they tried helping, and they were able to, change out the POs or change out the service or the shipping, and they were able to survive. So working with people from the beginning who are very, educated on what to do, but also that care. It's a total difference, right? I mean, you get that all the time. It makes life or death, really.
It's really a service. And like I said, that's why we don't call ourselves brokers. We're not really agents. We're a service. We're an extension of your team. We work for you. We're 24/7, 365. You have our cell phones. We're not this big corporation, close at 4:59. Don't take calls on weekends. And that's really what it is, because smaller vendors, you can't really afford that type of expertise. And that's where our value came in. Now, we don't sign anything on your behalf. We don't authorize anything. Again, we work for you, and you need that passion. You need that support. And if you don't have it when those tough times come, it's going to get ugly. And look, we've had plenty of people who said, hey, you know what? It's been real. We're going to go do this ourselves. And I'd say more than half those people call us back pretty quickly.
Yep.
And it's not in a bad way, but they're just like, hey, you know what? We actually realize this is a full-time job. We need your help. Or, hey, can we pick your brain real quick? Something came up, and, even ChatGPT and Google can't help answer this one. Like, what do we do? So it's an interesting market. Big box retail wholesale distribution is a way of, I think, old times that is not going away. And I think there's a lot of experts in Amazon and marketing and these new areas of e-commerce and running ads. But our niche kind of is why we're experts now, because not a lot of people know how to do it.
Yeah. And that's what, again, I go back to choosing a niche like that. You can really expand your knowledge and experience and your connections a lot easier than just saying, we're going to work with everyone. I mean, it's almost an impossibility because it's so vast. And, we try to talk about, and even with inventors with products, who's your target laser focused market? Who is that buyer? And a lot of times they just don't know. They just say everyone, or women. I'm like, do you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, oh my God, and just to let people know, Sam here is going to be at the PGA show with us. And he's going to be on stage and he's going to do pitches and everything. And we're going to talk to you about pitches, but don't go in front of Sam when he says, hey, who's your market? Who's your target market? And say everyone, because you're going to know you didn't put in your time to figure that out. But it's just funny when I've seen people pitch to investors or angel investors, and they didn't do their research. And of course, the guy hears 100 pitches, a month, and he's just and they say everyone, and he goes, I'm not.
Yeah, it's hard. We came a long way, and saying no to, first of all, anybody who, like I said, I love talking to people, love hearing their story, where they're at. this all started with helping a friend. And I've always tried to keep in mind that while we're running a business, our core values are to help people. That's what it comes down to. And, you lose sight of that sometimes. So when we're getting a lot of inbound now, specifically in sporting goods and golf, it's, hey, we know what you did with this person, this person, this person. Do it for us. What's it going to take? And it's very hard to tell somebody that I don't want to waste your time or your money or your efforts or our resources. I'd rather not do it and then rather lead you down the wrong road. It's very difficult and people take that the wrong way. But back to the way we source, right? We want to work and help people. And certainly we've had people force our hand. We're like, hey, we're going to try and tell you where this is going to go. So, don't want to say I told you so, but sourcing that and doing it the right way, you have to have an understanding. Otherwise, you will hit those walls. You'll waste time, effort, resources. And like I said, it comes down to having those right people on your team. You need an expert for Amazon. You need an expert for your ads, for marketing, manufacturing, social, strategic advice, players for wholesale retail distribution at a large level. You got to build a dream team. And the people who try and do it themselves, they run themselves thin. They don't execute, or they're just too greedy to try and build the right team with the right people.
Yeah, no, 100%, Sam. And you inventors out there, what Sam's saying is, his yeses don't mean anything if he doesn't say no. And he has to say no to some products. I mean, it's I know that it's going to help the inventor more because they're going to get ready. And he can't help the people he is saying yes to if he's too thinned out, if he's too busy, if he's working on trying to prop up a product that just isn't ready, and that's what I love about, Sam and I we're talking and I'm like, holy shit, he knows what's happening because he has learned this through attrition, through experience. And it's really great that the people you can help. And I've talked to some of your clients. I don't even like talking to them. They're like your friends. I mean, the way they talk about you guys.
That's what we hope for.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've had a lot of really good stories and I'm blessed and I know they are too. And those leaps of faith mean the world. And Carmine, I said this the other day to somebody, it's really a leap of faith if you want us to help you. No one's a family member over there. We don't pay kickbacks. This isn't a guarantee. In fact, I'm so transparent with it not being a guarantee. Sometimes I think I push people away, but I'd rather them understand it's a difficult task. But the leap of faith to do this with us as your support system, those people we really do see as friends and family. And we hope they feel the same way. And it's incredible. You even mentioned like we've come a long way. We're going to be speaking on these panels with you at the PGA show, doing some seminars and webinars. The judge pitched the pros. I mean, I remember years ago, I walked the show alone. I didn't even have a business card. I was just there trying to figure this out. And we've come a long way. And to anybody listening, don't stop, right? Like you can't stop if you have a vision, even if one person hates it and two like it or vice versa. Believe in yourself, keep going. And it's incredible what you can achieve if you have, the real vision for something.
Yeah. And the right people behind you. It's very important. And inventors, again, I keep talking about this, is nothing worthwhile or nothing great is done alone. And that's what Sam's saying. You can't be an inventor, work in a closet, think you're going to pop out of the closet and go, my product's ready. It's not going to happen.
Some people get those, overnight success stories and kudos to them. And man, I wish we had more of them. But you know what? Nothing feels better than hard work, time and effort and executing. And we look at some of our partners, I know you mentioned before, and some of them who are probably going to join us on these panels going forward, they put their head down, they push through the mud. We didn't get every win. And if we got a loss, we learn from it, we move forward. But when you do things the right way and you actually treat it like your family or your baby or whomever, it is remarkable what you can accomplish. And I think a lot of inventors out there who you probably know, they're resilient. And that resilience and people making fun of you or laughing or not understanding or judging you for what you're trying to do on the side or as a full-time job, take that as fuel and fire. That's what I always did.
Yeah. And those people are not your friends. Stay away from them. They're
right.
not. Yeah. They want you to fail. So because they feel bad about themselves that they're not trying. So, what I love about it, even those, there's a lot of Shark Tank products, and we work with a lot of Shark Tank products that didn't get deals. Those people worked so hard to show people that, hey, this is a good product. And it's just because you didn't get a deal doesn't mean you have a bad product. And what Sam is saying, that adversity, that way that inventors push through things. That's what we do. We're inventors. And that's what's so great about it. I just love this kind of talk. I mean, Sam, we were talking 20 minutes before we started this. We could talk for another hour, It's just, it's so much fun. But we're going to start closing up the show. Sam, I do want you to give information on contact information. Don't give out your phone number because I don't want a whole bunch of people calling you. But, if you want to give out your email or just your website, whatever is better for you would be great.
I appreciate it again, Carmine. Thanks for the time. So you can find us at www.consultwithk.com. consultwithk.com. Fill out the info at request. Like I said, we're pretty responding. We have a 365, 24/7 reply. You'll talk to a real person. We pride ourselves on that. Would love to hear from everybody, whether you want to talk about opportunities, or just pick our brains. We love that. We love connecting with people.
Yeah. And Sam is the K in .com.
Yes, certainly am. It's a homage, actually. It's for my father. It stands for King. That was his nickname. So yeah, get a lot of consult with K, but I guess this is a fair time to say that the K actually stands for King. So
it's
there you
go.
Better.
Even better. You have a real, something to shoot for, saying we're building this. That's awesome, man. I love that stuff.
It coordinates well as far as my last name also starting with a K. So it's a nice way to tell a story at times. This is actually, I think, the first or second time I've even told anybody that. So thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I learned something and learning something new. I love that stuff. So anyway, all you inventors out there, thank you to Sam for coming on here. He's playing it off and he's very calm on account. This guy's busy as hell. So we were very happy that he gave us some time. We just kind of planned this the other day. He's just like, what do we do? I said, I don't know. Let's just go on here and we'll talk. But Sam, awesome, man. Just the amount of content that you provided is just a tip of the iceberg, but it's a real great, starting point for our inventors. And I'm not saying inventors are dumb or they need all this help, but if we piece together all these experts like yourself, it just helps us all move forward faster, better, quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, Carmine, we discussed doing some stuff, seminars, webinars, et cetera. I think there's really not really a true platform for smaller vendors who maybe don't need a full service and they just need 30 minutes of somebody's time or an hour of their time. And, most attorneys will say, I'll bill you by the hour. It's like, we could work with you and do something and help, right? This all comes back to helping. And that's the key.
One piece of information could save an inventor or a product developer or somebody tens of thousands of dollars just because signing up with the wrong person or months or signing the wrong licensing contract or whatever. There's so many bits, and everyone needs that little or different types of information. And I think that we're going to put together some workshops and seminars and things like that, and bolting you onto these things is going to be priceless, man.
I appreciate that. I love it. Thank you for the time and opportunity, and good luck. I know you're a busy guy as well. We'll see you in January.
Yeah, man, I'll talk to you soon. And all you inventors out there, thank you so much for tuning in, sticking with us throughout these years. If you can, go on out to Google Play or iTunes, wherever you consume your podcast material. We'll put this up on YouTube since it's a pretty good video. Sometimes my hair's all messed up, so I don't post those. And we will catch you next time on the Launchpad. You all take care.